guys, it's the-epiphany, and today I'm going to be playing my enutrof, and we are attacking this prism. Over the past few days, we've been attacking a lot of prisms and taking areas for our alliance. We've had like 10 coughs today, so I'm pretty tired from coughs. We got a defense 5v5, and it's a pretty small map. They do have 2 cras though, so that is a disadvantage for them since it's a very small map. We have pretty much close combat characters in our team, except for my enutrof, who can hit from range, but even if we get range raped, we can still hit since the map is pretty small. The people in my team, 4 of them are from my guild. They're actually, like including myself, the other 3 are from my guild. They're actually second in command, so they're pretty nice at PvP. They know what they're doing. And the Harper Mage is not from my guild, but he's a pretty good player, so that's why I want him to. I invited him along to attack the Preceptor. We're close to killing the Kra already because he's got pretty low resist and only 3.6k HP. So we're going to try and kill him this turn, but I think he's going to get healed by the enutrof. Because of this, I decided to MP rape the enutrof as much as possible. He's only 10 AP, 5 MP for a start, so that makes it easier. I managed to get minus 4 MP of him in total, so that's pretty nice. I also give the Harper Mage Fortune, so that on turn 3 he can hit pretty nicely, because he is the main damage dealer. Well, we have an IOP as well, but Harper Mage has more resist and can do better damage. So basically, there's a bit of, well, they claim it's trash talk, but I don't really think it's trash talk. Like, to be honest, it's not his fault. It's not our fault that the Annie has low MP resist. So I raped him. I got like 90 MP reduction. They are saying that the attacking team has the advantage. However, that's actually false. Because they have the Prism, which erodes us 2 people per turn, so that's an advantage for them. And secondly, the waiting time for the Prism before the fight starts is actually like 2 minutes, so the defending alliance has plenty of time to prepare a group for defense. So it's not, they don't really have an advantage for, we don't really have an advantage for being the attackers, because of those reasons. Okay, so the osamodas summoned the Gorbel and wants to pull the Masquerader down, but he's stuffed up because the Masquerader can just simply release. Normally when I do this strategy on my Osa, I stand behind the Gorbel so the person cannot release. But basically there's a gap behind the Gorbel, so he can just release and then run back and shield us. I don't think the Annie can kill the Kra, but yeah, because he's resist based. He's got like 45% resist, so it's nice. So he just heals us up. It's alright though, we can kill him next turn because there's no one in his team to save him. The enutrof already had his turn, so there's no one in the team to save him. They have an 11 AP, 5 MP heliotrope, which is bad for a start, but also for the nature of this map, it's pretty bad because heliotropes work better over large maps because the longer they stretch their portals, the higher the damage they do. So it's only managing 453 on the real MVP, which is actually a really nice mask. He has Masquerader. He has a 6.7k HP and like 50% resist. Extremely difficult to kill. He's not going to shield us this turn because he wants to focus on killing the Kra. He also made the Kra unhealable, so no one can heal him up. To be honest, there's no point of that anyway because the only person that's next before that Kra is this Kra, and he's on negative cloudy turn, so he doesn't do much damage. And then our Harper Mage can go in and kill the other Kra anyway. So yeah, we did that nicely. On the first turn, I decided to give Living Bag to the Harper Mage because he was eroded from the Krah's Lashing Arrow. Yeah, the Harper Mage has this 2 AP spell that has range. It's an improvement from the previous update because in the past the only spell they had that was range was either 3 AP or 4 AP. Our IOP is getting hit hard because I think he has a Captain and Magna Shield. I'm not sure, but I can heal him up anyway because I have a heal bow in my enutrof. Yeah, that's another reason why I decided to kill Prisms with my enutrof, because my enutrof has decent resist, 43% all, has a heal bow, and is more useful in fights, I reckon, because the Osas are pretty bad now. I'm still updating my set. I need a mage, a couple more pieces. Speaking of which, I decided to go agility because the whip in the agility mode can give 2 MP to allies, and it is the only way that an Osa can give MP to his allies. He can use relay to give AP, so that's alright, but if I was to go chance mode, which is the frog mode, there's no way to give MP to allies, and that's a very important thing in my opinion, so I've decided to go agility. I've also planned a set that gives about 47% resist of everything, including neutral, but it's extremely expensive, which is why I'm trying to mage it myself. So our Anurips says int, which means intimidation, and the reason why he said that was to block the portal, so I explained why for him, and I think he's going to do it. Because if he blocks the portal, it'll be difficult for the enutrof to hit. He'll have to summon another portal, and then it might get awkward for him, so that's good for us. The Osa is not doing anything. Osa actually has very low resist. Even though he has 100 crit resist, it's bad. So the Krah left the fight. They seem to be going for me now. I'm not sure why, but it shouldn't be a problem. So this is the importance of having extremely high resist in Colo. Not Colo, any type of PvP at all. Because I'd rather sacrifice, let's say, like 200 intelligence and have 40% resist rather than having 20% resist, because I won't be able to do, let's say with that 200 intelligence, I'll probably be able to do an extra 50 damage per hit or so. But in terms of having that extra resistance as a sacrifice, I can pretty much suffer like hundreds of damage less per hit, which is basically my logic of why I prefer resist over stats. Like my intelligence is pretty decent, like at the moment it's like 1020 as well, and I've got high resist, so it's good. I'm talking about my enutrof, by the way. My Osa has less because my Osa is based on a summons build and a heal build. There are similarities between my Osa and my enutrof set, however there are some differences. I'll review them later on my later videos. We're deciding to kill the Osa now because it's low HP and it's no problem for our mask. Using Masquerade does like thousands of damage. That spell is actually quite deadly. The amount of damage it does depends on how much HP the Masquerader has remaining. So like let's say he had like full HP, it'd do like 1500 damage, maybe even more. Oh, he's getting in a straight line with me, he decides to go for me. Does an extremely strong Krah. Oh, he has all his buffs and a cloudy Dofus, so that's why he's strong. Like I got 43% resist of fire and he's hitting that much. So without that resist, he'd be doing like an easy 1,200 damage per hit, and I would have been dead. Recently, I've had a couple of comments, people saying that resist is not important for Kras. However, that is somewhat true because Kras are normally in big maps and hitting from range. They don't suffer a lot of damage. But in a situation like this, the Kra died first because he had very low resist, so that was a disadvantage of having low resist. I wanted to bribe the enutrof so he couldn't do any damage, but I was short one range. I got bat's eyed by the Kra. I can't do anything else except for MP and AP rape. MP and range rape the Enaripsa so he can't reach me. And then I also decided to unbewitch the shields of the enutrof. This Enaripsa has an archetypal bow. He's been using it for the past few turns. It's actually quite funny because his bow does neutral damage, which is bad because firstly the stats of the bow gives strength and neutral damage, meaning that the damage part of the weapon does more damage and the overall heal will be less. Which is why you need a major to give major to doing water damage or air or strength. No, water damage or air pretty much. Yeah, my enutrof's heal bow is made to do water damage because that's the weakest element possible for me. I'm actually using the set I'm using gives a decent amount of agility, which is why I didn't major to do agility damage, air damage, because I needed the agility to dodge, which I have 105 dodge, which is nice. Yeah, so it's worth the agility, and also I have 49 lock, which doesn't seem like much, but I can still lock some people in Colosseum surprisingly, so it's good. Normally my enutrof, he doesn't do any, he's not made for close range, but sometimes in an emergency I need to lock people, and he's kind of a tank with those resists, so it's nice. Yeah, we pretty much got this from here. It's bad on their part that they didn't manage to kill any of us, but they were close to killing me and close to killing our IO. But like fights like this, it's that bit of resist that counts. Like honestly, over the past few days, we've had a couple of Perceptor attacks and Prism attacks of our own, and whenever I defend, all I see is PVM characters defend, meaning like low stats, low resist, don't know how to play, they don't know how to counter characters because they're not PvP built. Yeah, so then literally I just stopped defending, and then people complain about why we stopped defending. And then I tell them we can win the cough instead, because in order to gain an area, we have to kill the Prism and also win the cough. So normally when people attack our alliance, they win the Prism because they have a strong 5-man PvP team. However, we do not. They cannot win the cough though because they only have 5 people. So that's why we win. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, this fight's actually looking pretty easy. I got my range back because the Kra died. That was a medium heal. The bribery cancels. No, it doesn't cancel the turn anymore, but it heals allies and puts them in pacifist state. So it's beneficial for allies because they can still have a turn and therefore escape. But for enemies, it doesn't cancel the turn, meaning if it was a Sadira that could unbewitch, and a Ripsa that could heal, or Feka that could truce or something to screw us up. This Enarips is using his heal bow every single turn of this fight. I'm not sure why. But he's shielding himself. I think he's trying to make the fight longer. The fight should be finished very soon though, because there's only 2 of them left. Yeah. So he used a spell called Zenith, which is an agility spell. It's very, very strong, and it's a new spell from the IOP update, one of the variants. Agility IOPs are pretty popular nowadays. I've seen a lot of them because they're very, very strong. However, I personally don't like it because I still prefer to play Strength and Intelligence IOP, which is what I'm keeping my IOP as. I'm also keeping all of the old spell variants. I'm not using any of the new ones on my IOP because I don't think they're necessary. Yeah, so basically this Masquerader is pushback damage built, meaning all his damage comes from pushback, and Masquerade, the damage of Masquerade is based on the amount of HP he has. So that's it can be good. But he needs a wall to pretty much be effective. So most of the time he can just tank and provide shields for us. Either way, it's pretty nice. My previous video was with maging the Tomahawk axe, and it kind of links back to here. This Masquerader doesn't have a Tomahawk, I think, but you can kind of see why Vitality over Mage for a Masquerader is useful, because the shields that they give is dependent on their HP. The difference between Prism and Perceptor fights is that Prisms are invulnerable for the first 2 turns of the fight. This prevents attackers from killing the Prism instantly, because if you kill the Prism, you automatically win the fight. Same with Perceptor fights. If you kill the Perceptor, you automatically win the fight. However, yeah, but that being said, that's why they made it so that because Prisms are pretty much more important than Perceptors, so they needed to make them invulnerable for the first 2 turns. So that's what, yeah, however, that can be a disadvantage because sometimes people get lazy when I ask for a Prism attack group, because Alliance Prisms take longer to kill even if there are no defenders than Perceptors. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you at the next video.